Well, I was in my hometown, and before dancing, I was singing. I was singing opera. And then I found a job at the Opera House in Marseille. I was a stagehand, you know. And then I saw those people dancing. I said, that's very interesting. So I said, well, so I had a kind of friend, a girlfriend, you know, that was dancing, and she said, why don't you take dancing? I said, well, at that time, you know, it was after the war. So I was like this, and nothing to eat, you know. So I said, oh, okay. So she brought me to her teacher, and the teacher looked at me like this, and she said, you want to do that? I said, yes. She said, okay, you try it for 6 months, and after 6 months I tell you. So I worked very good. And at that time, another boy came to the class. His name was Maurice Béjart, the greatest Maurice Béjart, you know. He's my best friend. I know him since 1941. We're a good friend, and we still are a good friend. And him and I, we began to work, and right after the invasion, I went to Monte Carlo. I was taken. I was very lucky because he was after the war. There was no many men left, you know. So when I had a man, I wasn't a very good dancer, you know, but I was lucky. And Béjart went to the Marseille Opera, so he was the kind of first dancer, you know, all that. And it was very, very, very good. And I had a wonderful life. I got myself an education that I don't think any university could ever give me. I met the most wonderful people in the world, you know, and I learned language. I speak 4 languages now, you know, and then, so it was wonderful. And if I had to start again, I'd start it all over.
It very much changed my life because this is a company that I've always wanted to be with. I wanted to be with it because I'd been with other companies before this, the Colón Theater in Buenos Aires and the Mexican National Ballet, the Paris Opera Ballet. But a friend of mine from the Branislav and Ajinska's class, Oleg Tupin, he was a principal dancer with the Ballet Russ de Monte Carlo, and they were in town. And he said, why don't you come to the Hollywood Bowl, we're performing, and just see the company. So I said, yes, I would love to do that. He took me, and I saw when they opened the curtain, this beautiful feeling, this spark, this something that was different, something that I haven't experienced before. And I said, I want to be with that company.
In 1945, when I joined the Ballet Russ de Monte Carlo, at that time he was a Ballet Russ de Monte Carlo, but before the war, most of the ballet people moved to Los Angeles because most of them were Jewish, you know, and they couldn't stay there. So Ballet Russ went to New York, and the Ballet Russ in Monte Carlo, they didn't call Ballet Russ de Monte Carlo anymore because all the Ballet Russ were in New York. So they called the Ballet de Monte Carlo. But right after the war, most of the people from Ballet Russ came back and worked with us. So Georges Zorich, you know, Balanchine, Lishin, Ryabushenska, Krasovska, they all came back. And I was very lucky to work with those people because they were wonderful. I mean, you couldn't find better than that, you know. It was really great. And we worked in the studio and Diaghilev was. Beautiful studio. Oh, it was like a palace. Oh, I danced Romeo and Juliet, I danced Les Biches, I danced Sleeping Beauty, I danced Swan Lake, and that's all those ballets, you know, every one of them. And I was working for a while with Ballet Pacifica in Laguna Beach, and I had a wonderful partner there, fantastic dancer. It was a pleasure to dance with her because she had a lot of feeling, you know. That's what most of the people miss now. Most of the dance, they think about technique, and they forget one thing that's very important from him, expression. It's everybody. But you know, you don't get any pleasure to see a thing like that. Even if you don't have a great technique, but you have very much expression and a lot of feeling, that's what ballet is. And so I work with those people, and that's it. Then I came to the United States in 1948, and I opened a studio in La Cañada, and I was working with Natasha's father in the Santa Monica Civic Ballet. My wife and I were the principal there. And I worked with him for I don't know how many years. And since then, Natalie and Natasha, we were all friends. We know each other for 50 years now.
I think that the very first day that I came into went up into the rehearsal was a real experience. Here were all of these dancers that you've seen and looked at from the audience, all in one room. Frederic Franklin, Alexandra Danilova, the great dancer Vladimir Dukadovsky, Leonid Miassine, and I trot in there. And you have to take a class first, and you're kind of looking around and seeing hoping they're not looking at you, you know. But no, it was a wonderful experience. Then we went right into the very first rehearsal. So that first day was a most memorable day. It's one that I think I've strived for a long time.
Before, when I start, the technique in Monte Carlo, the technique was important, but the most important was how you feel when you dance, you know. And some people, some company, you know, some company have a lot of technique. Technique is very nice, but from here up, you're dead, cold, and then it doesn't do you any good. It's not good. Ballet Theatre, for example, is a wonderful technical company, and then, but you don't have any pleasure to see, because everybody, you know, it's well, that's my opinion. I mean, I don't make a generality, you know, but my opinion is ballet is not now what it was before.
One of the differences that I still see, yet I think is certainly improving, and that is this acting ability. A good ballet dancer, a professional, has to be an actor too. You're not always just a tree, you're a prince, you're somebody or something, even a frog, you've got to be like a frog. So you have to act. And as good as these dancers are, I just feel a little lack, or at least if I keep the standard of the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo always up in my mind, I don't think they compare quite as much, good as they are and strong as they are. Of course, many of them are the Russian dancers that come in they're just wonderful, but still, I feel that the Ballet Russe, they had so many acting ballets, Gaieté Parisienne, Le Beau Danube, the Messine ballets, busy ballets, you know, very busy. And if you don't act, I mean, you're just out. And between the time of Ballet Russe finishing and now, obviously there's an improvement, but I still feel, and going back to the same thing, that the acting, the spark, the thing that brought the Ballet Russe to being what it is, still is missing. Frederic Franklin, the great dancer, coach, whatever you want to call him, still is alive. I think he's 90-something right now, and still working, and still helping people. His memory was so fantastic. He didn't have anything on paper, and yet he knew all of these ballets. How did he know all of these ballets? I don't know. I was good at memory, but nothing like him. But now what I'm saying is he's coaching some people. He's trying to revive and keep some of the spark and some of the actual choreography that the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo had. And that's wonderful. He's one of the last living legacies of this company. And I think that answers that one.